Hello, my name is Paige and I am a workaholic. I'm laughing, but I'm scream crying on the inside, and I'm sure if you are watching this video, you might relate to that. So we are going to talk about how I personally relax as a workaholic, because let me just tell you, as somebody who not only works from home and runs their own business from home, but also works out from home, brainstorms from home,
relaxes at home, has fun at home,
it's really freaking hard sometimes to shut the work part of my brain off. And I'm also a Virgo, so that probably explains that too. And given the times with how much, free time we all seem to have, and really, like I said, for somebody that has all of this go power to do literally whatever they want to all the time, it makes it incredibly difficult to put up boundaries sometimes and tell myself to like chill out. And I can't hate this part of myself because it's actually what makes me able to run my own business. I'm responsible enough to keep up on my task and kind of always constantly keep a fire under my ass for no apparent reason. Thankfully, I actually care about my mental health and have noticed when I start going down this workaholic spiral, and I've actually learned some pretty interesting tips to help myself from just going down that path. And I just thought I'd share them with you because as someone who literally has struggled with OCD for a lot of my life, I've just found that it's a very important thing for me to stay conscious of, putting down the baton at times and just not working my ass off until exhaustion and complete burnout, because I tend to do that a lot. Now here's the exciting part, because you're probably like, okay, this girl sounds like she's struggling just as much as I am, so why would I take advice from her? But I actually figured out something that like on the spot cured me of my workaholicism, and it was insane. Like I literally have to share it with you because it was so weird. So let's take it back to last Friday when I woke up in sheer panic because I just felt like I wasn't good enough right from the start. I know that's how we started our day, but I'm sure you guys can relate to how sometimes days just start like that. And at that point, I don't know why my first thought is to grab my phone and to immediately get started with my work, but that's kind of where I was like, okay, let's do this. And I remember literally grabbing my phone to do that like I've been doing for the past couple weeks, which is not my normal regimen. I know I shouldn't be doing that. I know you don't look at your phone first thing in the morning or right before you go to bed, but do I still do it? Yes, because I'm a person. And sometimes I fall to temptation. But for whatever reason, I became aware as I grabbed my phone on Friday that I was like, this is not going to help me. Point blank, this is not going to help me. I need to do something that is going to help me. And thankfully I had that realization, because then I just went and sat in the shower and just kind of was like, what am I doing with my life? Just a small existential crisis to start off your Friday. Nothing out of the ordinary. And I just sat there and I just thought for a second. And let me just say, a symptom of being a workaholic is that even when you try to rest, your brain will give you suggestions of things that you can do to be productive. Like even if you've already decided that you are going to be chill and relax, no, it's like, hey, by the way, this is a great idea. It's never felt like a better idea for you to impulsively, more like compulsively, do this idea right now. That being said, after I got out of the shower and tried to chill for a little bit, I had an idea that I wanted to share on my Instagram. So I posted on Instagram this channeled message I got that I had to share right in the moment. And guess what? It took me right back to square one, where I started to feel unproductive again. And I'm pretty sure any person who identifies as a workaholic can identify with this cycle where you feel completely worthless as a person until you get an inspired idea that you have to compulsively act on to feel any source of worth or achievement. And then when it's actually done, you go right back to that void again where you're like, wow, nothing feels good and I'm not worth shit. And that's a problem. However, that little piece of compulsive work I happen to do actually helped me come up with this technique, because the message that I channeled and shared with everybody was about how the moon was in Gemini and how it would be a good idea to write out and kind of just air out your emotions, your feelings. So I was like, you know what? I'm feeling all sorts of types of ways. I recognize that I'm struggling with this weird workaholic feeling where I'm like, nothing I can do satisfies me, like productivity wise. Like I just literally don't feel like I'm being successful no matter what I do. And I know it's a perception thing, but when you're in that space, it's really hard to just be like, oh, it's a perception, I'm gonna drop it. When it comes to mental health, you have to genuinely convince yourself and believe in this changed mindset in order for you to actually change your feelings about something. So that is kind of where I was like, I need to kind of focus on this and do that, which led me to randomly deciding to write down all that I have accomplished in the past 7 days. And you guys, that changed my freaking life. And I know that sounds dramatic, and I'm not gonna lie, I am a very dramatic person, but when I tell you this actually changed my life, it genuinely changed my life. Like, my anxiety levels went from like up here to like down here, like literally immediately, because I started to just genuinely recollect all of the forward movement that I was making that I just didn't fucking recognize because I was doing it in the moment, you know? And that's the thing about being a workaholic that's so funny, is you are so like forward focused, you know, you're focused on progress, on doing better, on being better, that you literally don't ever think about what you've already done, you know? Like, I'll spend a whole day on one project and I will feel bad because I only spent my day on that one project. And it's like, dude, you spent all day on this one project. Like, I went back and recollected something that I did on Monday that literally made my brain so confused, so stressed, and somehow I was able to make it through that throughout the week, and I literally never stopped to give myself credit for that. You know, I taught myself a new system. If you're familiar with human design, it's a very complex system because it factors in multiple different divination techniques, so it's a lot to process, and I like literally just forgot that I learned this whole system. I mean, not whole system, but a lot of it, like the basics of it, in, you know, a couple days. And I forgot about it because I was doing it, and I was so stressed to just do it in the moment that I like I said, once it was done, I was like, okay, it's done now, move on to the next. But it's like, when are you gonna stop to realize that what you've done is already enough? And that's the biggest thing that I'm like, girl, this is what helps you realize this. And, you know, as somebody that is work oriented, and like I said, I'm a Virgo, so I like to see tangible results of things before I'm actually like accepting it as what it is, basically. And I've just noticed that writing that list, like, not only was I writing it down so I could see actually how many things I did, but like, I wrote down the things and I recollected not only, you know, how long it took, but the struggle it took too. Like, the energy that I actually had to put into these things. So, you know, when I'm tired on Friday, not feeling productive and just feeling like I really want to chill, but for whatever reason, I can't get myself to feel like that's an acceptable thing to do, I just literally reminded myself of what I've already done. You know, I advocate for myself. One of the things I always try to tell you guys to do is be your own advocate. And even sometimes you have to do it to another part of yourself, but that's okay. Because as I saw from listing what I've done, I like proved to myself exactly that I deserved it, you know? And it's funny because it literally took me like putting it out there and just kind of airing it out, literally like I suggested to do, in order for me to understand that that's actually what I was doing and what I was putting out there, you know? Like I said, when you're so focused on forward movement, it doesn't ever feel like what you're doing is enough, because, you know, the treadmill keeps moving. You're the one who has to stop and be like, hey, I'm gonna go like eat or take a break or live my life, God forbid. Which I have to say was nice, because doing this, you know, very practical, logical, like, honestly, perspective shift is what it boils down to. It helped me realize that I can do other things that will help me wind down even more. So like, for example, from there I was like, you know what, I want to meditate. I need obviously to let my brain kind of run its course and to just kind of think through the things that I'm thinking. And you know, I personally leave room in my meditations to write notes. If I like really get this compulsive need to do something, I'll be like, you know what, I will do it later, but I'm going to prioritize my mental health. I also trust that I'll remember things later on too, which I also think is a nice little self-love reminder as a workaholic that might actually come in handy once in a while, because I feel like a lot of the time we try to keep everything, you know, right on top of our brain, like right on surface level for easy access, because we almost don't trust that we will have it handled in the future, you know, that either somebody else is gonna remind us when the time is right, or we'll just remember when we need to. But I think that's part of the spiral of workaholism that people get into, where you just become void of any sense of success, really. Like, you just keep diving into it more and more, and you're never able to really obtain it, is the funny part. So meditating and kind of getting yourself away from all of those restrictions and duties, and honestly just any feelings of pressure, can really just help you not get there in the future. You know, it's preventative work in that aspect. But like I said, sometimes it takes you having to take a step back before you can even recognize that you can chill like that, or that it's even beneficial. Because I know that when you're meditating, as an overly productive person, it can feel like you're wasting your time, but I promise you, if anything, you're probably making your time more valuable and better quality, honestly, because you're going to be more present in there and not be dealing with all this shit in your brain that just needs to be processed. And then my last little tip that I'll share is it really helps to get into your sensual side, to get in touch with your sensual side, I should say, and, you know, do things that help you get out of your head. Because like I said, when you're a workaholic, it's such a mind fuck, honestly, because like I said, you get to that space sometimes where nothing you do is good enough. Nothing you do is successful. It makes you feel productive. It doesn't make you feel proud of yourself in any way, and it's because you're almost detached from yourself. You know, it's all idolized in your head. So when you take initiative to kind of ground yourself, whether it's through yoga or going outside or dancing or cooking yourself a nice meal or doing self-care or beauty stuff, you know, any little thing that you can do to kind of get yourself back in touch with your physical energy, I think is just so healing for that workaholic energy as well. Because like I said, when everything is like a goal and it's idolized and it's out of reach, what good does this present moment hold for you? You know, you're not able to value it because you don't really perceive it as having any value other than kind of as a tool to get you to that place that you want to be, which is fine, but then it just makes you kind of use everything around you as a tool and not enjoy it for all that it can bring. And that's kind of the balance that you have to find when you have this kind of energy, because, you know, it's like I said, it's a very powerful energy to be so dutiful and responsible, but at the same time, you have to understand when you're starting to kind of dampen your own spirit and not allow yourself to feel the ease that you really should be feeling from, you know, the things that you're creating too. So yeah, I hope this video and these tips help you guys as much as they've helped me, because truly I was blown away when I did this for myself. And like I said, my anxiety went from here to like down here instantly. And it was just through proving to myself that I'm worthy enough. And honestly, that sort of method can be used for more than just proving to yourself that you don't need to be working right now. Like, you can do that with just listing things that you like about yourself or that you're grateful for, you know, things like that. It really seems kind of cheesy to do, but I don't know, once it's in front of you, it's really hard to ignore. And if anything, it helps you explore that feeling more and get back in touch with, you know, what you're actually producing in this world. Because I promise you, you're doing a lot more than you probably think you are, especially like I said, if you identify as a workaholic. So I'm gonna skedaddle though. If you guys like this video, I hope you give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you want more advice from me or just, I don't know, my random thoughts that I like to share on the interwebs. But I'm gonna go skedaddle and I will see you guys in a later video.